What's up, my peeps? Time for a brand new episode of WWE Mayhem, and in today's episode, we finally got the Backlash update. The update that was supposed to come out on Friday, then on Saturday, then on Sunday, then I guess on Monday, or, as soon as possible. But anyways, it's finally out now, and it's been a couple of hours since the update came out. There's a couple new moves, a couple new changes, so let's go over all of that, and I'm going to start it off with the roster/superstar changes. First things first, the big one, John Cena in the game is no longer on the Raw roster. So previously he was on Raw, now he's part of not even the Legend roster, but the Mayhem roster. And as far as I know, I've seen a bunch of other superstars. He is the only superstar now in the game part of the Mayhem roster/Mayhem brand. So there's still questions in regards to what that means and how you can use John Cena when it comes to roster-specific events or category-specific events, events that require legendary superstars or Raw or SmackDown. My best guess is, and if this ends up being right, then John Cena is now an even more valuable superstar in the game. My best guess is that means that you can use John Cena in an event that requires Raw superstar, SmackDown superstars, or legendary superstars. But like I said, this is only my guess now. But if you ask me, it makes perfect sense. John Cena would really work for any of the categories. He will go down as a legendary superstar. If Daniel Bryan is considered a legend, John Cena without a doubt, would fit for that. Also, on top of that, he's a free agent on WWE TV. He can compete on Raw and SmackDown, so it makes perfect sense for the Mayhem roster in the game to allow a certain superstar to compete in an event that requires any, of those categories, legendary, Raw, or SmackDown. And like I said, if it turns out to be true, then John Cena is going to be a superstar that you want to get your hands on because you'll be able to use him in all those events. But anyways, moving on to a superstar that unfortunately hasn't undergone a roster change with the Backlash update, I'm talking about Daniel Bryan. So on WWE TV, of course, Daniel Bryan is back to being, full-time competitor on the SmackDown brand. But in Mayhem, for some reason, he's on the Legendary brand. He was on the Legendary brand before this update, and he's still in the Legendary brand now. He's not on the SmackDown brand of the game like he should be, but I think I've figured out the reason why they haven't changed him to the SmackDown brand. And that is because when you look at the high flyers in the game, none of them, apart from Daniel Bryan, are part of the Legendary roster. So if they went ahead and put Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, then that means whenever there's an event that requires superstars on the Legendary roster, you couldn't use any high flyers. While for all the other classes, I think there's at least one Legendary superstar, in each class. So like I said, if they put Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, then you find yourself in a situation where there's no Legendary high flyer in the game. I'm thinking that's the reason why. I think they could go ahead and fix that if they can manage to get Rey Mysterio in the game. But of course, we don't know, Rey Mysterio's contract situation with the WWE, if he can be, put in the games now or anything like that. But if eventually we got Rey Mysterio or any other, legendary high flyer in the game, then I think we might see Daniel Bryan then switched over to SmackDown, because then he would fix the possible problem of having all these high flyers in the game, but not a single legendary high flyer that you can use in events that require legendary superstars. Moving on, because I think I said the word legendary like 100 times already, and we're like only 4 minutes in. So then, when it comes to synergy changes, Big Cass, and this one's funny because just yesterday, I think it was, somebody in the Mayhem Facebook group was like, yo, they should switch out Big Cass's synergies because, Enzo's no longer in the loot cases. Of course, if you had Enzo before they took him out, you still have Enzo, but for the new players, once they get Big Cass, then, they can't get that synergy anymore. So, they went ahead and took out that synergy. So now, Big Cass's synergies have been replaced. You no longer have synergies with Enzo. Instead, he has synergies with Shinsuke Nakamura and Seth Rollins, which is kind of odd, but, it's better than having a synergy with a superstar that you can't get anymore. And also, speaking of Shinsuke Nakamura, unfortunately, he hasn't gotten a super move change. So, a while back, it was like maybe a couple of weeks ago, somebody had suggested on the community page that they switch out, Nakamura's super move to the Dirty Tricks, just like they did with Bray Wyatt, because of course, we've seen Nakamura low blow AJ pretty much every single week since their WrestleMania encounter, since their WrestleMania match. And I thought maybe they would go ahead and switch it because they had replied to that, thread with something along the, I don't remember the exact message, but something along the lines of like, good idea or something like that. So I was thinking maybe they would go ahead and change it with the Backlash update. But Nakamura is still out there tossing pizzas instead of busting other people's nuts. And speaking of super moves, they are now no longer the only thing that separates a 4-star from a 3 or 2 or 1-star superstar. You see, at least from one superstar. Because for a long time now, people have wanted the stomp, or the blackout, whatever you want to call it, as Seth Rollins' finisher. Seth Rollins, since the beginning of this game, has had the pedigree and the buckle bomb. The pedigree is incredibly outdated because he stopped using that at not this year's WrestleMania, but the one before that against Triple H. That was the last time that he used the pedigree. And then he switched over to another finisher, which was his new finisher. That was the ripcord knee. Didn't like the ripcord knee. Still don't, but, that was his newest finisher, and so a bunch of people wanted to see that as Seth Rollins', new finisher. But that didn't get added, or they didn't replace the pedigree with the ripcord knee. And then Seth Rollins got the stomp back just recently, so people wanted the stomp extra bad now. People really wanted the stomp because, hey, it's back on TV now, it's no longer banned. We also want to see it in the game. So, of course, the first bit of great news for those of us who wanted to see the stomp was the release notes for the update if you check the Amazon App Store before this update came out to the Google Play Store and the iOS Store. It said that Seth Rollins gets his third signature move. And obviously, the only two that would make sense as a third signature move would be the ripcord knee or the stomp. But currently the stomp is his finisher, so that was pretty much confirmation that we were going to get the stomp. Everybody was excited, and also it felt like it introduced another possibility of adding in moves that superstars currently don't have that they do have on TV. For instance, Kurt Angle in the game, he's got the angle slam, he's got the German suplex, but he's missing the angle lock. Sheamus, he's got the Irish Curse backbreaker, he's got the high cross, but he's missing the bro kick. John Cena has the attitude adjustment, the 5-knuckle shuffle, and he's missing the STF. Brock Lesnar, he's missing the Kimura lock. So with Seth Rollins being one of those superstars that was missing a finisher or two and him getting a third signature move, I think that was like great news for these other superstars that are also missing these, signature moves or, finishers, that maybe they could also get a third finisher down the line. And so the update dropped, and it's been revealed that the blackout or the stomp is exclusive to 4-star Seth Rollins. So for those of you who opened up the game and were looking at your Seth Rollins character right away to see if he's got the stomp, and you're like, yo, the stomp isn't here, what's going on? Is something wrong here? It's because it is exclusive to 4-stars, the Shield Seth Rollins, while the 3 and 2-star and also 1-star Seth Rollins can't use the stomp. So for the first ever superstar to get a third signature move, have that move be exclusive to his 4-star version, all those other guys that I listed, Sheamus, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, and John Cena, there's a strong possibility that if they get their missing move, that it's also going to go ahead and be an exclusive third signature move for their 4-star versions, because they all happen to have a 4-star version of themselves. But anyways, as far as how the blackout looks, I'll show you guys a video right here, and this is straight from the Mayhem Facebook page. They posted this up, and you can see the move right here. It starts off just like the Booker T scissors kick, where he bounces off the ropes, goes up really high, and he drops down with the stomp at the end with a short little taunt for Seth Rollins. So in the comments section, what are your thoughts about how the stomp looks and also it being exclusive to 4-star Seth Rollins? I think the stomp looks perfectly fine, and I'm glad it's finally in the game, but I would have preferred it to replace the pedigree for all versions of Rollins, for the simple fact that the pedigree is just an outdated finisher for Rollins that he doesn't use anymore, and he hasn't used in over a year. And also, speaking of new moves, here's all the new extreme / no DQ moves.
Oh no, 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 no! Anything goes in this match. Uh-oh, we know what's coming. That was brutal. Oh, look at this. Ah, he's just caught berserk. Oh, that was brutal. Uh-oh, we know what's coming. Oh, come on. Ow. Oh, we know what's coming. Ah, that was brutal. He's it up.
So as you just saw, they're all table moves. My favorite one by far is the high angle senton because it looks like Jeff Hardy's actually going for the senton through the table. So that one matches Hardy perfectly. So it's a good thing Hardy is a high flyer because these moves are matched to classes. So for instance, I was hoping that the Usos would have the table splash, but that one is tied down to showman superstars. So all showmen have the table splash. All the high flyers like Jeff, AJ Styles, they've got the high angle senton. The technicians have the normal senton. The brawlers have the table elbow. The powerhouses obviously have the table military press drop, and the wildcard superstars have the table leg drop. Now it's not all just about brand new moves. One move, one finisher has actually gotten changed slightly. It's had a slight animation change towards the end, and I'm talking about a finisher that a lot of people have complained about because it looks like another finisher. It doesn't look like it should look, and I'm talking about the Stone Cold Stunner. So the stunner now actually looks like a stunner. If I have some footage of the old stunner, I'll go ahead and show that on the screen, and then I'll show the brand new version, which looks a lot better. It's a slight adjustment, but now it actually looks like a stunner instead of a cutter or, RKO. So aside from all those things, when it comes to new superstars, usually you can find new superstars by going into versus mode and searching for matches right after an update drops. In this case, after the Backlash update, you really can't find any new superstars by searching through versus mode. So maybe they fixed that. Maybe there's other new superstars aside from Bret Hart, but we can't even find Bret Hart in versus mode. So maybe they found a way to hide those new superstars even from versus mode. Also, something that I almost forgot to mention, but good thing I remembered, I'll just go over it briefly here and I'll talk about it more tomorrow, is that they've added more stats in, more details in terms of your superstar when you go into a match, or right before a match. You can see your critical damage, you can see the critical chance, you can see the special gain, you can see a bunch more stats, so it's more detailed now. It's not just how much health and how much power does my superstar have, there's more to it that you can see, which I think is great. So I'll talk about that more tomorrow because I'm already recording this super late. This is already going to go up late. I don't want it to go up even more late. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, click that like button down below, and with that said, I'm out guys, see ya.